Think about this for a second. When was the last time you really remembered something you learned? I'm willing to bet it was during a conversation that sparked a little bit of debate, right? Well, today we're going to dive into that exact idea, the surprising power that friendly controversy has to make us learn better and honestly just be way more engaged.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll tackle the age-old problem of why we get so bored. Then, we'll jump into a pretty counterintuitive solution. After that, we'll get practical with some simple strategies to start, then level up to some more advanced models. And finally, we'll get into the why, the psychology behind what makes a good, healthy disagreement so effective.
So let's kick things off with the engagement challenge. We've all been there, haven't we? You're sitting in a class or maybe a work meeting, and you know you're supposed to be paying attention, but your mind is just somewhere else. That's the core problem we're talking about.
I mean, seriously, have you ever found yourself in that spot? You're just completely zoned out, your mind starts drifting, you're looking at the clock. Yeah. So for anyone trying to teach or lead, the real question is, how do you get that focus, that spark, back into the room?
And this is where things get interesting. The goal isn't just to get people to pay attention. That's the bare minimum. True engagement is when people are energized, they're intrigued, they're actually inspired. It's about shifting them from just passively listening to actively participating.
Okay, so how do we tap into that energy? Well, what if I told you the solution wasn't getting everyone to quietly nod along and agree? What if the real key is to harness the power of disagreement?
And that brings us to the main event, friendly controversy. Now, this is crucial. It's not about arguing just to win. Not at all. It's a structured technique where you express opinions, sure, but then you work together to figure out why you see things differently. Think of it less like a fight and more like solving a puzzle together.
But what's the secret to keeping it friendly and not just a regular argument? Well, it all comes down to the ground rules, and they're so important. Things like criticize ideas, not people. Listen to actually understand, not just to cook up your next comeback. These rules are the whole foundation that makes this work.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? Let's get into some simple, practical strategies you can use to start introducing a little healthy debate.
First on our list is a really easy one to implement, but it's surprisingly effective. It's called the class vote.
So here's how it works. It's a super simple three-step process. First, everyone casts an initial vote on some issue. Then, you open the floor for discussion. Each side gets to present its best arguments, and then you vote again. The really cool part? You're allowed to change your mind. In fact, that's kind of the point.
And just look at what can happen. In this example, on the topic of year-round school, the yes vote started at 40%, but after the discussion, it jumped all the way to 65%. This really shows that the discussion isn't just noise. It can actively change minds and deepen people's understanding.
All right, strategy number 2. This one is a fantastic exercise for your brain. It's called opposite point of view, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Basically, you have to argue for the exact opposite of what you truly believe. This forces you to get out of your own head, right? To find the absolute strongest, most convincing reasons for a position you totally disagree with. It's such a powerful way to build empathy and see an issue from every single angle.
Okay, so once you've tried out those simple strategies, you can level up. Let's look at a couple of more structured, advanced models for handling really complex conversations.
Next up, we've got the Lincoln-Douglas debate. Now, this takes the structure of a classic, formal debate and brings it right into a learning environment. It's perfect when you really want to dig deep on one specific, complicated topic.
And the beauty of it is its structure. You've got your affirmative team who argues in favor of something and your negative team who argues against it. They have clear jobs, like presenting their case, cross-examining the other side, and make sure the whole discussion is balanced and super thorough.
Another fantastic advanced model is the seminar. Instead of a one-on-one debate, this one breaks a big discussion down into smaller, focused groups. And here's the kicker. In those groups, everyone gets a specific role to play.
And this is just brilliant because it guarantees everyone participates. When you have assigned roles, like a moderator to lead, a recorder to take notes, even a timekeeper, it stops one or two people from taking over the whole conversation. Everyone has a job to do, which makes the whole thing way more focused and way more inclusive.
Okay, so we've covered a bunch of strategies, the how. But now, for the big question, why does this all work so well? What's the real payoff for learning when we embrace a little friendly disagreement?
This is really the secret sauce. Friendly controversy forces you to personally connect with the information. It stops being just a bunch of facts on a page. When you have to form an opinion and defend it, you have to really wrestle with the ideas. You go from being a passive listener to an active learner.
And get this, people actually enjoy it. Research shows that students consistently call these kinds of activities things like stimulating, fun, and interesting. So it's not just more effective, it's literally more fun. And that combination is pretty much the holy grail of learning, right?
So, let me leave you with this question. How could you use a little friendly controversy in your own life this week? Think about something you want to learn or understand better. Maybe you could actively seek out a different opinion, or even try to argue the other side in your own head. It's an amazing tool for challenging what we think we know, and, ultimately, for learning a whole lot more.